you doing?
Good, good.
Let's have some fun. I want to approach this from a place of curiosity because the thing that troubles me about a lot of the way you structure your arguments is that it seems to suggest to me that you perhaps believe that there's some moral deficit that black people have that inclines us to commit more crimes.
I don't believe
and I
that.
guess my question is, what do you think that moral lack is?
I don't really think it's I don't think it's a sweeping generalization that every black person somehow is born inherently evil or inherently a criminal. I think that there's different things that do cause people to fall down a path of committing crimes, which is what their fathers did and what their mothers did.
One might say context and systemic racism. Or
I don't think it has. I think it had much to do with racism.
No.
I don't think it has. Like for instance, we can isolate criminal activity that happened in the black community that has no hand or involvement from white people.
Yeah.
You know, a young man deciding to grab a gun and do a shooting has nothing to do with white people. A young man having sex with 5 and 6 women, getting them pregnant, and not standing up for his responsibilities has nothing to do with white people.
See, but when you tell stories like that, it seems to suggest that you're saying that black people are responsible for all of that versus these isolated incidents, these mythical isolated incidents that you're bringing up.
I'm saying it's personal responsibility.
Yeah, so you're saying
there's no white man there.
There's an epidemic of personal responsibility inside the black community.
I agree with
How
that.
do you measure that?
By looking at the effects of it, looking at what black people are doing over time.
So earlier, people have come up and given you a vast number of statistics that indicate systemic racism, inequality, poverty, education. It's happened over and over again. Yet you claim black people have an epidemic of personal responsibility, but you can't give a single statistic that indicates that. How do you measure that?
They have an epidemic of personal responsibility. You see the outcomes.
Is it the rap music?
That's one indicator.
Yeah. It's rap music.
It's rap music.
Let the bodies hit the floor. Who wrote that song?
Let me give you an example of why this is different.
Let
me give you an example of why this is different.
Come on. Let's talk about rap.
And I'm gonna tell you how it has a negative effect on black people.
Yeah.
White people actually listen to rap music way more than black people do. They purchase it more.
Mm-hmm.
But black people are living the stuff that's in the music.
Mm-hmm.
White people fantasize of what it may be like to run up on your op and shoot somebody and kill them and go to prison.
Bars. Come on.
And selling dope in the hood to your own people.
Yeah.
Black people are living it. It's a reality, and it's reinforced. You cannot tell me that that's not a form of brainwashing.
I've listened to a lot of rap music. You know what I've never done? Shot up a school.
What does a school guy do anything?
I think you try to create this image
that there's no.
No, this is what I mean by you seem to suggest that there's a moral
negative?
lack.
No, you're saying that there's no negative.
There's some kind of lack that causes us to be more prone to violence, but you don't acknowledge any of the historical context that places us in the environments that we're in.
Are you saying that there's no negative effects of brainwashing yourself about killing your brother and sister and listening to that on a day-to-day basis? There's no negative effect in that.
Right. Why are you posing this as a uniquely black thing? This is like when you make the argument that violence has been a part of art all the time. I write for a living. You know who glorifies violence? William Shakespeare. You know who glorifies violence? Quentin Tarantino. But you don't see anyone talking about, oh my God, this is responsible for all the white on white crime, even though there are more white criminals in America than any other race.
We're talking about black people.
Yeah.
Do you think that black hip-hop music, rap music is detrimental to the black community?
No.
You think it has no effect on the psyche of a young man listening to that every day?
No. It's that simple.
I disagree with you on that point. I think here lies the problem.
How would you validate that? How would you prove that?
Well,
what can be proved is a correlation between poverty and crime, and that can be traced systemically through history. And this goes back to all of the arguments we've made about wealth accumulation and how black people have been prevented from having that.
Now, how can you associate that to white supremacy?
How can I associate white supremacy and generational poverty? Do you think wealth is inherited?
In part.
Yes, so do you think poverty is inherited?
Majority of people who are successful in this country do not get passed on generational wealth. A lot of people who are very successful came from nothing. I would argue that almost every black person who is successful came from nothing, which is an example of why capitalism works.
Yeah, okay, so I went to one of the most conservative high schools in America. It is a very alluring and deceptive delusion to believe that because you live in circumstances that are different from the rest of black people that somehow you are special.
What do you mean? You're saying that if you work hard in this country...
This is the way earlier that you suggested, like, oh, here's my example of someone who escaped poverty, and that means that everybody has access to that.
No, I'm not saying not every white person has access to...
So then you acknowledge that there are forces that operate against black people that are unique to black people. And where do those come from?
I think a lot of it comes from the actions of black people.
The epidemic of personal responsibility that you can't indicate how.
Are
that
you
exists.
telling me? So, are you a successful man? Consider like
I'm doing my thing.
Speaking.
I'm doing my thing. Yeah.
Okay. Did you go to school?
I got incredibly lucky.
Are you educated?
I got incredibly lucky.
Are you educated?
Yeah.
Okay. What decisions did you have to make to get to the point that you're at?
Okay, we want to talk about education. We want to talk about the difference in funding between schools in black neighborhoods and white neighborhoods.
No,
like if you're
funding. I went to probably one of the poorest schools in my school district.
Yeah.
That make the difference of whether or not I did my homework or not.
Yeah, this is the thing where I think you're convinced that you're special.
I don't think that
Yeah.
inherently, because the color of my skin, that somehow I'm behind the curve against white people.
Yeah, Harriet Tubman escaped the plantation. A lot of people didn't. Is it the fault of all those black people that they couldn't escape?
I don't get your point there.
The point that I'm making is that people live in dire circumstances, and every once in a while, someone can break out. And that's not an indication of the system itself.
Black people
it's not
don't
corrupt.
live in a world where every now and again, the majority of black people live in the middle class.
Yes, but a lot more black people live in poverty than any other.
Disproportionate, and a lot of those are because of decision making. When you have children,
yes,
and you're not married,
this is why I'm saying that I think you think that black people have some unique moral deficit.
We
because
are
you're saying that there's an
falling-
epidemic
I
of
think that-
personal responsibility in
I
black
think that-
people, but you can't prove that. And yet we can prove that systemic
You
racism
cannot
exists,
prove
but
that.
you don't.
What you're doing is you're assessing or
When does
associating
systemic racism stop in
racism.
America? When does systemic racism stop in America?
I don't think there was real systemic racism.
Ever? Keep going, please keep going.
Right,
I would love for you to go for the rest of this time on that.
I do not
Tell me-
believe that there's been systemic racism in America that's been a primary reason why black people cannot succeed.
Right, but you can't prove that there's an epidemic of personal responsibility. You can prove that there's an epidemic of systemic racism.
No, look.
And that's why I'm asking you, when did it stop? Because theoretically, that should be the moment when we're all equal.
Are you saying that black people are not responsible for the decisions that they make?
I'm saying everyone has agency. Everyone commits crime. Everyone does everything.
Exactly.
But people have had to live in different circumstances.
So therefore, if you do the right things like you did, you have an opportunity to be successful, which is equal to just about anybody else, no matter what color you are. You think white people are better than you?
No, but I worry you do.
Why do you think I do? I'm the one that's saying that black people have an opportunity to be successful in this country just as well as anybody else. You don't believe that. So you think white people are better than you.
Your prompt perhaps could have been, we should do more to prevent crime and poverty in black communities, right? That's a way of framing the argument that is about
you can say
solutions
you can frame or whatever you want. You are focusing on, we're talking about black people.
I'm focusing on language because words are important.
No, we're talking about black people and you're focusing on what white people are doing. So
All right,
who harm black people more than other black people?
Probably the people who brought us over here on boats.
Gentlemen, the time's up now.
That was
fun. Thank you.
I appreciate you.